What is going on, guys? My name is Brent and welcome to part 3 of my tutorial series on how to create the game Flappy Bird. So in this tutorial, we're going to be finishing up the state class that we created on our previous tutorial by adding a game state manager class that will fix up the errors that we have here. So first off, let's talk about what a game state manager is. Basically, it's self-defining. It manages the states of our games. So we can have a play state, and then maybe the player hits pause or something like that, and a new state gets put on top of that. So instead of the play state getting rendered and updated, it's now the pause state that is getting rendered and updated. And say now we need the player unpauses, well, we remove that state, and now the active state is the play state. So this works really well with a stack, okay? So basically we're going to create a manager that has a stack of states, and it renders and updates the one at the top. So inside of our states package, we're going to create a new Java class and call it Game State Manager. And Game State Manager is, like I said, going to have a private stack array of states, or not an array, a stack of states. And we're going to call those states. And then the constructor, so public game state manager, will take in nothing. And all it's going to do, this is our constructor, is states equals new stack of states. There we go. Now let's add some methods to manage our stack. And as anybody who's taken data structures would know, stacks have some methods like push and pop and peek. And so let's add those to our class here. So public void push, and it'll push a state called state. And state will just have it states.push our state. And that'll be enough for that method. And then let's pop one. We're not going to return anything when we pop it. We're just going to get it off the stack. So public void pop will be taking nothing. And what it will do is states.pop. Now, there may be a time where we want to pop and instantly push a new state. So we're going to have that called set. So public void set. It'll also take in a state called state, and it is going to first pop, so states.pop, and then states.push state, and then it's going to have two methods, our update and our render method for the top object on the state. So how do we look at the top object of a stack? And that is the peek method. So public void update, which will take in our delta time, our change in time between the two renders. We'll do states.peek.update, and we'll give it dt. And then public void render, which will take in a sprite batch, which is the container for everything and renders everything to our screen, SB. And it will be states.peek.render, and give it our sprite batch. So creating the game state manager fixed everything inside of our state. Now let's go to our Flappy demo file, which is basically the heart of our game right now. It has a render method that is on loop all the time. It just does render over and over and over and over. So inside that render method, we need to make our game state manager update first and then render our game states. So let's create a game state manager here. So private game state manager and call it that GSM. And then we're also going to create our private sprite batch. And a sprite batch is something that you should only have one of in the game. You shouldn't be creating sprite batches in each individual state or anything like that. They're very heavy files and you only need one, and just pass it around to all your different states. We'll go ahead and we'll just keep that image for now. So sprite, our batch equals new sprite batch. And then let's create our game state manager. So GSM equals new game state manager. And then we're not going to begin, and we'll talk about that later. What we're going to do is just say our GSM needs to first update, and in order to get the difference between render times, or delta time is what I told you previously, we're going to use GDX.graphics, .graphics.get delta time, and that will tell us the difference between render times. And then next we need to GSM.render, and we'll give it our batch file. Okay, and that's it. So I take it back, we'll get rid of this texture here, and we're actually going to move this clear color to our create up here. It doesn't need to happen every time, but the clear actually does. The GDX GL clear, it basically wipes the screen clean and then redraws everything fresh. I mean, you know, it wipes the screen free, and then the sprite batch will redraw everything fresh. So let's create a new Java class here in our states and call it menu state. And what it's going to do is extends state, and we'll give it we're going to be using our state. And so we can right click on here and generate our override methods. And so we need, each state is going to have a handle, input, update, and render method. So we'll just go ahead and put those there. Now we have a state here. It's not doing anything yet, but let's go ahead and push gsm.push our new menu state, and we'll give it our game state manager. And I made a mistake here. These need to be public, and also public this. And then let's just go ahead and run our application, and it's basically shouldn't show anything except a red screen now, in which it does. So that's it for this video. We have our game state manager executing our game loop over and over and over. Our state right now has nothing on it, but we'll fix that in the next tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and post them below. I'm pretty good about getting back to everybody. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And of course, if you're feeling generous, check out my Patreon page. And I will catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.